Hello, this is Waning Moonlight, and I'm here to answer the question: can you beat Elden Ring on Journey 6 with only 300 great arrows? And I could not. I'm not gonna waste your time to get to the end, but I don't end up beating Elden Beast, but I get close to the end. How close, you may ask? Well, you kind of gotta watch and find out. Now, if you're curious, yes, this video was inspired by like the Dark Souls 1 100 Great Arrows challenge, and I thought, let me add just 50 for each new game cycle, or yeah, each journey I was on. So that got up to 300. And honestly, I didn't think this would be enough, but I was like, you know what? Thinking it won't be enough is kind of part of the challenge. See how far I can take it. And though it was going to be a challenge of conserving ammunition, I wanted to test a few shots here. So I let the guy come out and tried my first shot, which already was pretty promising. But I also was doing this because I wanted to test if the two-handed talisman would work with the great bow. I was unsure. And yeah, that was pretty good. But with that out of the way, I wanted to actually not waste my time anymore. So, jumped out, and it was time to actually, get things rolling. And honestly, this probably should have been a little telling of how many arrows I could need. To note, I actually have 200 of the Radon arrows and 100 of the spear things, the ones on the left. But anyways, made my way to Morgott, and I will be using Mimic here with the Great Bow as well. My kind of thinking is, every arrow my Mimic can shoot is one less arrow that I have to do, which is pretty good. And Margit was not too much of a challenge. I mean, he took a few shots, a little more than I was expecting, but it wasn't too bad. I've also learned from other great bow runs, if you jump up and then fire, it actually shoots, the pullback time goes faster. But either way, we're on to Godric, and 13 arrows have been used. So not too bad. This one was pretty easy because he kind of just kept his distance. He had his wind attack, which was the only real danger I faced throughout this fight. Phase 2 started, and I ran all the way back. Now, the fire was a bit more of a problem. He could hit me from pretty far, but eventually I kind of got up on this high point, and he could still hit me, but yeah, I thought I would be protected. But he was down either way, and that meant that's our first Great Lord down, and we're at 34 arrows shot. Next up, we're going for Renala, so we got to grab the Academy key all the way back here. I didn't want to fight the dragon, so I quit out. And here I realized I actually had 30 extra arrows, so I dropped them just to make sure I don't use them. Having only 300 arrows in my inventory was a lot easier than just keeping track. But either way, Red Wolf wasn't really an issue, and we're at 40 arrows. And this knight guy, he gave me a bit of trouble. He was very persistent in attacking me. And I couldn't really do too much. Can't waste arrows, and he would not fall off the elevator. And believe it or not, Renala was actually a bit of an arrow waster. Because you have to not only knock down her 3 students each time, but you can only get about 3 or so shots off. So it took 3 cycles to get her down. I could have maybe tried to go for another one, but I didn't want to risk her shield and wasting an arrow. But either way, she had her phase change, and this was actually just kind of funny. Every time she stood up, she got knocked down. I did waste an arrow on the moon and one on the summon, But by the time she was done, I mean, it wasn't a big deal, just, I think I only wasted 2 shots. We were up to 69 arrows used. And I decided to go the magma worm way because, as I said, I mean, I'm making pretty good time. Almost halfway through the game, not even 100 arrows used. So surely, I would be able to do it. And I just thought, I'm using Ion's bow, fighting some sort of dragon would make sense. And he was taken down with really no issue, 10 arrows used. The Draconic Tree Sentinel was actually extremely hilarious. Apparently, it takes one great arrow and it kind of knocks him out of whatever he's doing. So, he didn't really get to do too much to me or my mimic this entire battle. Other than the fire breath, those were just quicker than an arrow. But either way, he was taken down, and we're up to 93 arrows used, which is still less than half. And I'm going to take this quick time to say, if you are enjoying the video, to subscribe. I do a lot of From Software game challenge runs, mostly Dark Souls 2, but if people like this one, then I'll do more Elden Ring. You know how it goes. And, if you leave a comment for a challenge run idea, I'll definitely get to it. There are only so many ideas I can have. Sometimes it's a little fun to see what people can come up with. But either way, we're on to Godfrey, what here is called like the Golden Shade version. And he was alright. He's got his stomp attacks, which would be a nuisance. But because we're fighting at range, I mean, I was never really in range of those to get hit by. I mean, I got hit, but, not as much. Took a few close shots, but we were at 104. And so far, we're doing pretty good. And as I run up, I remember about the Black Knife Assassin. And so I was like, you know what? I know they can stop me from using the bonfire, so I thought if I knocked them down, it would be fine. So that put it, that was one arrow used there. Running up to Morgott, and this was really when the health starts to climb up, where it won't be taking just a few arrows. And luckily I didn't die, but he also is pretty aggressive. But it shows a big problem that some bosses will have, and that was that they dodge. I had to really sit there and aim for a little bit just to make sure I don't miss, I mean, I'm not Hawkeye, don't got that aim. But eventually he went down. 122 arrows have been used. And then Mountaintops of the Giants. Honestly, the run here from Morgott to Fire Giant is probably the most annoying run in the game. But, it's whatever. We make it up. And this is one out of 2 bosses that I actually kind of had a plan for. I know. I actually had to stop and think for a minute. It was crazy. So first, I know if you hit him in the eye, it does special damage. However, it's not open during the first phase, so I could just shoot at his body, or I could break his ankle, which I like the idea of breaking his bones, so that's what I went with. And it actually did some pretty decent damage. Not too bad. And the range of the bow allowed me to do some, fight him from this distance, which was kind of fun. But I still got up and close for the phase changer, especially so that I can hit him in the eye. Went for a few headshots too when it was covered. And all in all, things went pretty okay. It's kind of hard to aim a little bit from the distance with the slowness of pulling back the arrow. But when he was low, I wanted to get up close on horseback, and apparently you can just whack him with the bow. So I probably could have saved me a whole bunch of arrows. if I just beat him to death like that, but whatever. Now, this was the second boss I had an idea for. You may already know Sleep Pots, an Elden Ring player's best friend, and the Lion Great Bow. I knew if I used just one arrow, it would turn into many and do a lot of damage like that. But I didn't consider the mana it would take, so, that was kind of a wasted dream. Then I swapped back to Ion's Great Bow because it did like 20 more damage because I have it heavy infused. And already, with him down, Skinny woke up. And he, like I had said earlier, like Morgott, can dodge. Sometimes it would still hit, but, dodging's kind of an issue. There, I tried to put him to sleep and use the last of the sleeping pots I had. I also didn't have the stuff to make more, which, it's great. And things went pretty okay here. I tried jumping around, tried dodging, dividing attention, but I was not really paying attention to the mimic here, and it died, and then shortly afterwards, I died, which is awesome. Second attempt, I died again. At least it was quick this time. But third time's the charm, and I decided to bring Ben Harl because I realized, I'm still doing bow shots. But the less arrows I have to shoot, the better. So if he's doing damage, then that's less damage I need to do. And it actually went pretty good. He survived for a long time, so did the Mimic. And yeah, 244 arrows used. But here's where it ends. Malekith, the Black Blade. I should have known things would have gone bad when the Mimic tier started acting up, shooting the guy behind the fog wall. I could have tried to kill him, but then that would have taken more arrows, and I don't really have that many to spare. Now, Malekith already kind of didn't take as much damage as some of the other bosses. A little more tanky. And he's pretty aggressive. Charges it up, and I don't know what's with the Mimic, but he's not like fighting constantly. Like he just likes to stand there and take it, which is really weird. But of course, that's a problem, because if I'm dying and having limited arrows, I would like him to shoot. And then when I ran very low on arrows, I realized it's going to be a bit of a problem, because I didn't have too many left. And obviously, if I were to die, then that would just be a waste. So I tried locking it in a little bit here. Mimic down. I thought I had enough. But Malekith, he does all of his flips. So I really had to wait. I tried baiting out his big slams because I felt like that would give me good time to shoot. But it didn't always work out, especially when it hits that. With a few shots left, I even tried maybe doing a support build, like, I didn't use all 300 shots, and I would use the Mimic to finish him off, but my Mimic ain't the brightest in the bunch. So yeah, this is where it ended. I grabbed some regular arrows and ended the fight. If you like this video, maybe I'll try it again on, lower difficulty. But thanks for watching. Have a good day.